ACCUSTATS Video Productions proudly presents the finals of the U.S. Open in Norfolk, Virginia. There's two players left in the tournament, Nick Varner and Kim Davenport. Nick Varner, my special guest for this feature match in this final match, Grady the Professor Mathews, Buddy the Rifleman Hall. Well, these two gentlemen met, I think, a little earlier in the tournament, and I believe Nick defeated Kim Davenport, sending him into the loser's bracket. If I'm incorrect on that, Grady, correct me.
I don't remember who defeated Kim. It was Mike Siegel, if I'm not mistaken, by the score of 11-5. He hasn't played Nick yet in this event.
Okay, well, if that's the facts, then that's the facts. Mike Siegel defeated Kim Davenport 11-5. Now, Kim Davenport just played Mike Siegel and defeated him back 11, I believe it was 11 to 6. 11 to 7, that's what it was, 11 to 7. And Kim Davenport is at the top of his game right now. By the way, incidentally, he just defeated Nick Varner in the finals of the Greensboro tournament so I would think about a week ago. So therefore, he has the necessary confidence to beat Nick Varner in his finals.
He's got a little problem with the 3-ball here. He's going to try to put the cue ball between the 3 and 6. Got a nice angle for that. It would really be pretty hard to predict the outcome of this match. Both of these guys are in top form, rated number 1 and number 2 in the world for the year 1989. Probably, if you had to ask an opinion on the strengths and weaknesses of these two respective players, you could find nobody better than Buddy Hall.
Okay, Bunny, what do you think about these two particular players out here this evening?
Well, I feel like they're both great players. If I had to pick someone with a slight edge, I would pick Nick to be a slight favorite. Nick just seems to be playing so solid. Kim, he's playing very solid too, but I think Nick's control should prevail. I believe it will prevail. It may not, but I pick Nick to be a slight favorite.
Well, I can't find any fault in that prediction. Nick certainly has done what's been asked of him in the future, in all past events, and we'll see what's in store for him in the future here. But in the meantime, Kim Davenport's the player at the table with an opportunity to capture the first game.
Well, I would also make Nick a slight favorite, but for a different reason. He's won 85 or 90% of all his close matches this year, and he's used to winning them and feels like that's the way it's supposed to be.
Well, that says something, you know. I mean, Nick Varner is accustomed to winning matches, close matches that he didn't figure to win. He feels like he's just a winner, and there's no question about it. The man is a winner.
Now we contrast that with you, Billy, who have never won a close match.
Well, there's a reason for that, Grady. You see, I don't match up games where they're close, as you well know.
Looks like Kim's going to take a 1-0 lead. All he's got to do is bump out and come out with a 9. He shouldn't have any problems at all with this.
And that wasn't the easiest run out in the world either.
Well, no, he had to get on the 3. The 3-ball was the key.
Well, you can hear the approval from the fans here, and you know that Kim Davenport came here with a lot of supporters, as you can hear them in the background. At the end of game number 1, it looks like Kim Davenport has jumped out to the early 1-0 lead.
And Joe Kerr, the director of the MPBA, is racking the balls and refereeing.
It's very important to win the first game of the match, as Grady Mathews and Buddy Hall has previously stated that the first game usually sets the tempo for the remainder of the match. Whatever happens in the first game is a pretty good indication of what to expect in the following games.
Well, that was like a trick shot there.
Well, I don't know what the heck happened there, but the cue ball jumped up in the air, almost went through the light, came down the middle of the table, and just stopped right in line for the 1-ball.
You know, what's been happening, everybody that's broke on this particular table, they broke either from the left side or the right side, and it's been so close to the same spot that they've actually got a little indentation in the cloth. And I think what had happened then, he set the cue ball in the small indentation, and when he shot, his cue ball acted as if it was on a ramp coming out of that hole. When he hit the 1, it just went straight up.
Also, you can readily discern the possibility of the shot I described in an earlier commentary where the player jumped up in the air with the cue ball. It hit the light and came down on the one ball, pocketed it, and drew back for shape on it too.
Oh, wow. Nick hit that shot rather poorly.
Uncharacteristically, I might add. Now, is he going to have to go down on the short side of the 9-ball here?
It appears that way, Grady, and then if he does that, the possibility of being hooked behind the 9 becomes very likely, and also the scratch right in the corner. But the way he hit it, he didn't seem to be bothered by either one of those obstacles.
No, that was a nice shot, a lot harder than it looked like.
He plays with a lot of bulldog tenacity. He's really going to try to bully his way around in this match. If Nick don't go ahead and take a hold of him, he can give him a lot of problems.
Well, that's for sure. I mean, when you're playing Kim Davenport, you better try to take a hold of him, or you are going to have a lot of problems.
Well, he knows that he'd like to get off to a long early lead and put the match completely out of reach. Nick has won so many come-from-behind matches this year. I think he's broken all existing records in that particular department.
Kim Davenport certainly has come to play this evening. His game has steadily been improving, especially in the last 6 months.
Well, certainly the U.S. Open title would be a prestigious event to add to an already impressive array of tournament credentials.
That's exactly right. Kim Davenport possesses a tremendous amount of confidence, and you can tell by the way he walks around the table. The speed of the cue ball is an indication that he's on top of his game.
Kim about 3 times as quick a shooter as Nick. The length of this match will depend in large measure on who wins it and whether or not it's close.
I believe I'm going to have to put a muffler on this fellow behind me here. That's a little hard on the old eardrums.
Billy, are you scoring just a break performance, or are you doing ACCUSTATS?
Well, the only thing I'm doing, Grady, is keeping score, the actual score of the match. And if you would be so kind to score the break performance, I'd appreciate it now that you brought that up.
Well, I'm not going to score it after this long day of wagering. But I kind of miss ACCUSTATS. I thought that was a valuable, useful service performed by Pat Fleming, actually breaking down into, I think it was 15 separate categories, the ratings of all the top players.
Well, Kim Davenport broke the balls for the third game of the match, pocketing the ball on the break, achieving position on the 1 ball. He's straight into the 1. Now, I believe the 2 ball is located on the bottom rail here on the lower right-hand portion of the screen. And he's in perfect position on the 1 to draw straight down the table for the 2.
I made the comment earlier, well, Tuesday as a matter of fact, that these tables, the way they play, they're ideally suited to Kim's game. Kim likes to hit balls hard and slam balls and stuff like that. These tables are ideal for that style of play. It's really hard to play these tables with a finesse speed, with a finesse cue ball. You have to kind of slam everything.
I totally agree with that assessment, buddy. And it was my mistake. The 2 ball was what was the ball pocketed. The ball on the bottom rail is the 4 ball.
Yeah, right.
You seem to play pretty well here this week, buddy, and I would describe you as a finesse player.
I had trouble this whole tournament. I was out of line about every other shot. It felt to me like I played pretty good the end of my match with Kim. It felt like I was coming into it, but I got beat 11-10.
You know, now that you brought that up, Grady, I'm kind of curious into finding out why exactly you changed cues in the middle of that match.
Well, I had been practicing with this cue that I got from a friend of mine. I've been practicing with it about 2 weeks. And I decided today that I'd go ahead and use it because I really love the cue. But a couple shots came up during the set that I didn't hit exactly the way I felt like I should have hit. So I went back to my old cue that I'm very comfortable with. And my game picked right up.
Well, it certainly did, and I was really surprised to see you playing with that Billy Stick cue. Even though Billy Stick might make one of the better cues in the world today, you had just won a tournament.
I think he's
with the cue that you used prior to that.
Well, I know I did, but this cue, it was a custom cue for me. The cue that I've been using is, it's a custom cue, but it wasn't custom made for me. But it fits me real well. But the shit cue was exactly my dimensions, everything about it was made. It was tailor made for me.
A lot of folks might not know, buddy, that you dabbled in cue making for a period of years, and are pretty knowledgeable in the engineering techniques and design qualities of a good playing cue stick.
Oh, that chick is a beautiful cue. I'm surprised he kicked that one in. Well, I'm not sure he has.
Well, I'll tell you what, he certainly did give it a ride, and it almost went into the corner pocket. It certainly stirred some emotions here in the crowd. They was have him wanted to go in, have him said don't go, and I think we have a large group of supporters for both of these players out there.
Right. Now, Kim, he started off with a good shot. He had a good wide open rack, and he made a mental error along the way. He got hooked up behind the line. See, that's something that Nick will very rarely do. You might watch him play 10 tournaments and not do that. Or he might do it the first shot. You know what I mean? But
that was a nice shot.
He made an excellent shot there. But Nicky, when he gets an open shot, he pretty well takes advantage of it. And when he does get in a bad spot, he thinks his way through it extremely well. I see this is a big difference here. It could have been 3-0. Now it's 2-1 and Nick breaking. That's a giant difference.
You're not kidding. Especially, this is going to allow Nick to win the first game, and everyone knows here in the booth, Grady, yourself, buddy, and also me, we know that winning the first game is really a hard game to win sometimes. So therefore, if you have your opponent in the chair without a win, that's where you want to keep him. And Kim Davenport played himself out of position a little bit there, giving Nick the opportunity to capture that first game and get it under his belt. At the end of game number 3, it now stands Davenport 2, Nick Varner 1.
Well, to Kim's credit, he didn't necessarily misplay that ball. He hit it with a good solid speed. It just kind of dragged out slow. He didn't quite get there. He was only snookered maybe a quarter of an inch, 3/8 of an inch.
Well, that's true, but these tables are they've been notorious for that all week. You have to overhit everything.
Let me
and
ask
he
you a
underhit
question,
that
buddy.
shot.
Would you recommend for somebody in a critical match and on equipment like this to maybe play zone or area position rather than
definitely
try to pinpoint things?
Definitely play zone, yeah.
And if Kim had done that in that particular instance, he'd have been all right with it.
He'd have been in excellent shape, yeah.
Even though sometimes he might have to accept a little longer shot. Now, in keeping with the toughness of the table, though, as far as the speed of it, the pockets were very generous.
Right.
We saw you make a 3-ball where you didn't have room to make it on any ordinary table.
Right, I played it inside the 4. I remember the shot. I played it inside the 4. My worry there was hitting the 4. If I missed the 4, I know the ball will go in. If I touched the 4, I might have gotten bad shape.
Watch out, Nick. I think you're going to find yourself with a little problem here.
One of the first times I've seen that happen, he overhit that shot. Very rarely do you overhit a shot on this equipment.
I thought he'd go straight for shorty, but he hasn't done so.
Well, I think you're going to see him go for shorty now. No, he's walking over to his little bag where he keeps the little fellow.
Yeah, he didn't go straight for it. He made a slight left.
Keeps him sheathed, does he? Holstered.
Now, we're taking a look at Kim Davenport now. He's looking up here. I mean, he seems quite calm in the chair.
Well, he's probably not real happy about the prospects of watching what's going to happen here.
He doesn't like the idea of Nicky having one and him not having one. He's got one, he just didn't bring it with him. I don't know what he was thinking about. Oh, that's unusual. He jumped up. Is there? So he left his jump cue at his friend's house. He didn't bring it with him. And so far, he hasn't needed it. He jumped everything with his cue he plays with.
And
you know, now that you mentioned that he left his jump cue at his friend's house, that's like going out on a date with your girl and leave her at home.
Well, I don't think that's a fitting analogy.
Well, thanks a lot, Grady.
But
I'm
anyway,
glad you're back.
While we're talking about it, that was a perfect example of the zone position we alluded to moments ago.
That's
Nick had
exactly
the same
right.
opportunity. He really didn't want to be anywhere close to the 6 and 8.
Yeah. That's right.
You know,
It gets better as it goes.
They should pay Buddy and I about 10 times what we get for sitting up here with Billy.
Thanks a lot. I really appreciate your company also, and I'm sure to invite you up here for the next tournament. I really do. I really enjoy sitting next to you. Only if you remain silent.
Your insights, while keen,
Where was he
as
going?
usual,
Was he,
faulty.
is the 6-8 tied up?
Well, I don't know, but I believe the 6 and 8 are tied up, and he tried to go into the 6 and 8, which wasn't totally wrong.
He's still got to come with a shot.
Well, I think you're going to see him bank this ball because he seems to. He's in a very enterprising mood right now.
No, he'll shoot. I believe he'll cut this ball on the side and come around 3 rails. I don't see him. I can't see him shooting the bank here and trying to get the cue ball down table.
If he can miss the 8, I don't know if he can miss
I
the 8.
I think he's going to try to bank this ball cross side.
With inside English, high right's your favorite?
Low left, your favorite.
That's right. I
Low
love the
left.
low left. Well, I like the force follow, too.
Low left here. I believe he's going to cut this on the side and come around 3 rails.
Well, Grady brought up an interesting point here, though, buddy. He might not be able to miss the 8 if he cuts it in the side with any speed here, you know.
If he does miss
well,
the 8, maybe he won't get long enough to get right on the 7.
Well, it looks to me like he's got plenty of room to go by it. Maybe he doesn't. Well, looks like he's making it. Safe. He's playing safe. That was an excellent shot.
We may see
Well,
the jump cue again.
I don't believe we're going to see the jump cue on this shot, Grady. I think he's going to go after the kick here.
He'll just about have to go after the kick. It would do him any good to jump here. If he jumped over it and made the 6, he got nothing on the 7. He got nothing with the 7. You know what I mean? The only thing he could do is cinch the hit. He can cinch the hit by kicking at this.
And I believe he's kicking at it the right way because the only way he'll probably benefit by kicking at it is to pocket the ball. And if he pockets the ball kicking at it at this angle, coming down the table toward the 6, at least if he pockets it, he'll have position.
Well, he'll shoot this at a speed to try to get a little distance between them.
You know, he just hit that point. You know, if he would have missed that point, it would have been very interesting to find out if, in fact, that he could have made that 6 because it would have been very close.
He might have made that ball. That's exactly right. He didn't miss it very far. It looked like he made a big error there, but he barely missed that 6.
If he would have pocketed the 6, he might have obtained position on the 7, and I believe that's the reason he chose to kick at it off of the short rail.
That's true. I believe with 4 balls on the table, you do need to make the ball, but the first thing you have to do, you have absolutely no chance if your opponent gets ball in hand.
Well, that's for sure. But he certainly didn't try to miss that ball. He tried to win the game with that particular shot. He didn't have much to work with, so he figured if he did execute the shot good, at least he would have an opportunity to win the game.
That's true.
Oh, it's gotten away from him. Kim is the type of a player that flirts with danger.
Well, the crowd loves that, and so do you.
Billy, is he trying to say something?
Well, if he thinks I love flirting with danger, he really doesn't know me, does he, buddy?
No, he doesn't know you very well.
No, I didn't mean that you like flirting with danger yourself, but you like to witness it in other folks.
Well, I certainly do. I mean, that's exciting.
Expense to you.
That's exciting. I like action films. I like action sports. I like enterprising players.
Isn't that customary for one-pocket players to love to see somebody jammed in behind something where they can't do anything? I mean, isn't that what one-pocket players love to see?
Yeah, I agree with that.
They sure do.
I don't believe he's going to pocket anything on the break. Nick Varner does have a pocketable shot on the 1 ball. If he pockets the 1 ball, buddy, I think he's going to go into the 2 ball here.
Looks like he just about have to go into the 2. Where it'll end up, only God knows. I believe he might end up with a shot down in the lower left-hand corner. That's a possibility.
Well, how good with his supply of gum do you suspect Nick has laid in store for this match?
I don't know. He usually brings like a 6-pack with him.
Energetic when it comes to chewing that gum. He really works his jaw muscles there. I'll bet he can bite like a bulldog.
Probably can. He plays like one, that's for sure.
Oh, he had to hit that ball quite a bit thinner than it looked to us.
Yeah, I figured if he would have hit the 2 ball, he would have hit the 2 ball. He's a little bit heavier than that, but I didn't expect him to hit it much heavier than that.
Now this can be a little touchy here. I think he's got a natural angle to get above the 3, but he can't afford to follow it too much and shoot too easy to go into the 3.
He's got to bank the 8 to go 2 to the end rail.
I think
he played safe.
he has struck this ball really perfectly, and leaving Kim Davenport with nothing to shoot at here.
No, I thought he'd bank it across the side.
I believe the 6 was the obstacle there, and I don't believe he could have banked it through the 6.
Yeah, the 6 was a blocker.
Okay, I couldn't tell that from my vantage point.
Kim, I don't know what he's doing when he walked up and looked at that side of the way. How's he going to get to that side of it? Can he miss that? Well, he may be able to get above the side pocket, but
I think he can hit just
maybe
before the side with a lot of English. I think it goes right straight to the deuce. In fact, he might make the 8.
I agree. The 8 ball is very pocketable.
he went above the side. Look here, he hit it almost exactly where he was looking. Almost exactly where he pointed at with his cue.
Okay, I think you're gonna see Nick Varner go for this ball now and cut this in the corner pocket.
I don't think he has enough room, Billy. I think you might see if he's got enough room to cut the 2 into the 7. That might be what you see. I don't think he has enough room to cut it the other way.
Kim's kicking has improved a lot, hasn't it? Practice won him a lot of games and matches.
He does it with judgment too. He kicks with just a feel for the kick instead of a system.
Nothing wrong with that.
That's the way I played all my life. I know nothing about systems.
But you've shot repetitious shots thousands of times, and you know about where to hit to get anywhere you want to.
Yeah, that's just a natural instinct that most players like Buddy have. They can just feel it, and they don't really need any systems. And by shooting the shot over and over and over again, they just know exactly where it's going to go.
Well, a system is handy. If you've got to go 2 or 3 cushions, a system has to be more accurate than eyeball.
Oh, it definitely does. It puts you right in the park.
The one-railers, I don't think you need them.
He's bunting this ball. He bunted it. Which, that's better than selling out a straight in.
Yes.
Yeah, but I think he's going to find himself with another problem when he steps back up to the table. I think Kim Davenport's going to go up table and try to put the 2 ball behind the 2-4. I mean, excuse me, behind the 4-9.
What about
Yeah,
going behind the 5 with the cue ball?
Well, that's rather risky, but if he can get there, that's a plus. But I don't know if he wants to do all that.
He'll liable to go right in that corner trying to shoot that. There's another possibility here that he might, like, because the 6 is where it's at, he may not be able to use the rail where he wants to. He may nip the 2 and bring the cue ball back over where the 7's at. He may hit the bottom side of the 2. That's a possibility.
I don't know if he has enough room to do that, buddy.
I don't know. I know he don't want to go into the 6. It wouldn't hurt him a lot to go into the 6, but I know he doesn't want to go. He wants to go all the way up table if he's going. If he starts up table with the cue ball, he wants to go all the way up.
Well, he really doesn't have that easy of a safety, but I think the best shot he does have available to him is to put the 2 ball somewhere behind the 9 and 4 and go up table with the cue ball. Hopefully he'll hook Nick with the shot.
Yeah.
I think he's going to shoot the shot. Buddy suggested, yes.
Well, he did have enough room to do that, Buddy. If in fact he did have enough room, which he did, that certainly looked like the right shot.
Well, it looked like he might have left a bank. Can Nick hit enough at the 3 to bank it across the side?
I really can't tell on the monitor. I don't believe we can tell from the
Yeah, I
monitor
think
either.
he can, but I don't think he wants to shoot it.
Well, if he can hit enough of it to bank it, he don't have much choice. He's getting the old shorty out again.
Yeah. Excuse me, buddy. He is getting the short stick out, which certainly suggests that he doesn't have room to hit a direct.
I don't like this shot at all. I think if he tries to jump this ball here, he'll have to go right over the top of the 2. He'd go right off the table with this shot. There's a real good chance of that.
Well, he's been practicing jumping balls on this cloth. And, you know, the young man does have, or I should say, Nick Varner does have a tremendous feel for the jump stick.
That's true, he does. I was judging from his last shot that he jumped when he jumped the table. Or remember when he jumped over the ball, the 8 ball there, and shot the ball in the pocket and then went right over the end rail?
I remember it well. I don't think he had much choice with that particular shot. He executed the shot perfectly. Unfortunately, he did jump off the table. It was quite a difficult shot. If he hits the 6, I was thinking if he hit the 6, he might have rolled him back to the 6. But fortunately, he hit the 6 a little squarer than exactly where he wanted to hit it, or where he should have hit it.
He can take a 4-1 lead here. That's a big lead. Going to 13, is that what they're going to? I believe they're going to 13. 4-1 lead is big.
I would say that possibly against anybody but Nick. Like a lot of his matches this year, he started out behind.
Well, they don't want to get in a spot where he's got too tall a hill to climb.
No, that's for sure.
You know, he'd rather just go over a little hill than to go over Mount Everest. You know.
That's for sure. I don't know if it's advisable for him to play the 7 in the corner in this corner pocket to the right, because if he does that, I would have rather played the 7 in the other corner pocket.
The 9 can be very big here.
Oh, he can go right down to the end rail. I don't think this is going to be a problem.
Yeah, but if he goes down to the end rail, he might get straight in on the 7.
No, this is just perfect.
Yeah, it's perfect because he located the cue ball perfectly on the rail, which gives him now an ideal angle to go up table.
And
It looked like to me when he was shooting at the 6, he had a chance to go right into the 9. I didn't know he could get below it.
Yeah, he had plenty of room to go right down to the end rail.
Okay, now all he's going to do now is just follow this ball, hit short of the side pocket, and just come right down the table for the 9 in the right-hand lower corner.
Yeah, I think he may try to hit above the side on this, because if you don't, that point gets big. Yeah, he hit it perfectly.
He certainly did. This is game number 5. Kim Davenport leads in this match 3-1, looking to extend it.
Well, he's got it extended as soon as he shoots his 9 ball. I think you can take the liberty of marking this one up.
After game number 5, Grady, you happen to be 100% correct. Kim Davenport now leads in the match 4-1. He's really pumped up. The camera's on him right now. He's really pumped up, you know. He feels real good. He feels real good inside of him. He feels real good about what he's doing out there.
What about Nick's nerves? You think they might be a little frazzled after all the great finishes and wins he's had in tournament play this year? That's got to take a little bit out of you.
Well, I don't know if you're going to pick a time for him to be frazzled. I mean, it's kind of hard to pick a time for this man to be frazzled because he hasn't been frazzled at any of the times I've seen him play. He just happens to be behind, you know, for once. It's not often you see him behind, you know, but he will come back at Kim Davenport.
What Nick is going to have to do now, see, Kim is setting the tempo right now for the set. What Nicky has to do is he has to break that tempo and set his own tempo in order to have an out in this match. As long as the match is going at the pace that it's going at right now, I think Kim will run away with it. But if Nick can slow him down to his pace, then I believe he can get right back into the match.
Well, that's very understandable, buddy, but it's awfully hard for Nick Varner to slow Kim Davenport down to his pace when he's in that chair.
Yeah, he is moving kind of slow right the minute he's in that chair.
Kind of like what happens when the irresistible force meets the immovable object. I guess we'll find out here tonight. Right now it looks like the irresistible force is clipping right along.
I think he's a little below the 5 here. He's a little to this end. He's a little this side of the 5, isn't he?
Yeah, but for a shot maker like Kim, that's minor. This extra distance here is negligible. I don't think I've seen him miss a shot like this in 8 or 9 months.
This shot is so easy with my favorite English low right with high center. This is not a real easy shot.
And the side pocket may come into play here too. If you don't put a little bit of English on it, just hit it with a flat ball, the side pocket's very big.
Right, a dead center ball, this is not a gimme, you know what I mean? You have to hit it on the nose with a dead center ball. If you're using low right, you can hit an area with it. But if you're hitting dead center ball, you got to hit it on the nose.
Yes, and he elected to shoot it with low right too, buddy, to increase the accuracy of the shot.
That's exactly right. He wanted to cinch the hit.
What he did there, in other words, is shoot the shot in such a way that it's roughly 100% make and lessen the perfect position.
He's going to get pretty close to his work right here. A little closer than he really wanted to get. The ball still is very makeable.
He's a couple inches off of it, but it's still very hard. It's a hard shot. It's real. what makes this shot here so difficult is he's so close to it, it's hard to see the hit. He's got to stand up higher on the ball in order to see the hit.
And he'll use a little left English here, won't he, buddy?
I would use a little low left, as a matter of fact, to correct the angle.
Yeah.
Got away with a little bit of a bad hit there.
Yeah. Notice how lenient the pockets are in accepting shots of that type of angle.
You know, Nick is sitting over there not saying anything, but he doesn't like this very much. He's a fighter, and I think we're going to see some action.
Yeah, he's going to have to sharpen his teeth here a little bit, though. I mean,
hey, John, see if you can get Nick's face on the. Take a look at take a good look at Nick. See how he feels about it. Well, we're going to take a look at Nick right now, just to find out what kind of expression he has on his face.
I caught him. He just popped an extra dose of gum in there.
He just put a fresh piece of gum in his mouth, figuring that maybe this is the little bit of energy he needs to pull him through this little bit of a force that Kim Davenport's putting on him right now.
Nobody's ever OD'd
look at him, though. He's
gum,
solid as a rock. He isn't showing one bit of emotion. He's not going to show any weakness. He may lose, but it's not going to be from the fact of showing weakness. You show a little weakness to Kim, Kim grows teeth. He'll really make it hard on you. You can't show any weakness when you're playing Kim.
You sure can, or you'll be looking at 11-1.
That's exactly right.
Now let's take a look at Kim Davenport. Deep concentration.
He's like playing the lottery here. Look at him. He's trying to decide where to put it. Here we go.
Yeah, tough guy. He's a tough guy.
136.
There's only one place you can break on this table now since they moved the spot, and that's from the right-hand side. Right where he broke from.
Well, all of a sudden the corner ball went straight in. That hasn't happened in quite some time.
Yeah, it doesn't happen very often, but once in a while you can get a good enough hit to where you can make it. I made it once, I think, in our match, but I just made it one time. They changed the spot on the table. Earlier, the table was you hit the balls, you make 2 balls, and hope you got a shot on the one. Now it's not like that. You have to concentrate more on the break. You have to concentrate more on the cue ball. It makes a better game out of it.
What's he doing here?
He may be trying to put him behind the 6. 8. Behind the 8. Nice shot.
Well, it just seems like to me that Kim Davenport has a extremely good feel out there, both with the cue ball, with his pocketing ability, with his nerves. His confidence is just soaring. He's going to be extremely tough to defeat this match.
And Nicky is hurrying up. I think what Nick's got to do, he's got to slow it down. He's got to slow it down instead of speed it up.
Got to watch this one.
He's playing a little above his tempo right now. His step, he's shooting his shot a lot faster than you would normally see him shoot it.
You're right, buddy. Nick's usually pretty deliberate when he's in a bad
That's
spot.
exactly right.
I think some of the worst matches I've seen great players play has been when the player's tempo is disrupted and it's played at the other guy's speed.
Playing at the other man's pace, you're really at a disadvantage. You have to play at your own pace.
I've said something for years. I've never said this to you. We've got a lot of great deliberate style players. In fact, you're one of them. And you win an awful lot of matches in tournaments like that. However, a guy that plays quickly like Kim or Earl Strickland, they can beat you 7 games in 6 minutes, and you really got to watch that.
Yeah, that's true. But then you take somebody like Nick. On the other hand, see, the opposite side of that is if Nick happens to beat you 6 or 7 games, 5 minutes a game, 7 minutes a game, 8 minutes a game, he beats you 6 or 7 games, you feel like that you're behind so far you may never catch up.
What you're describing is a very painful kind of slow death.
It sure is, and it's the same thing you're talking about, only a different tempo.
That's exactly right, buddy. What we are seeing here is Kim Davenport giving Nick Varner a little dose of his medicine. Now, if the shoe was on the other foot, we would be seeing Nick Varner giving Kim Davenport a little dose of his medicine, and that's the slow death. So regardless of who's doing what to whom, it is very, very nice for the other person.
I started to say something about that shot. That's a hard shot.
Well, very hard shot. He didn't have a whole pocket. I'll go out on a limb here a little bit. I'd say at Nick's pace, the pace that Nick plays, and this may be one of the reasons. One of the reasons he's the #1 player in the world right now. His pace, he has a better chance of overcoming a 5-1 deficit than Kim's pace.
I agree with that. That's very astute of you to phrase it that way. You're absolutely right.
And I also agree with that assessment. Matter of fact, it was right on the money as far as I'm concerned.
And I think the reason for it, broken down a little further, Nick, when he's behind, is going to play one ball, one shot at a time, one game at a time.
And when you do that, you get your opponent watching one shot at a time, and he's playing the game with you one game at a time.
Don't tell me that, buddy. It's almost hypnotic in nature. If you're
Well,
watching,
it happens that
slow
way.
player shoot, you get hypnotized.
It happens that way. Now see, Nick is still playing fast. He's still playing at the other man's pace.
Nick hit that ball extremely well. The 8-ball was blocking off a portion of the pocket. And he hit the ball very well, but unfortunately the 8-ball was blocking off a portion of the pocket, and that's why the ball didn't go. Fortunately, he made the 8-ball in the side pocket. I don't know if it was lucky or unlucky, because obtaining position on the 7 is very difficult for
Well, you want me to give you my
Look at the
feelings on
pace that Nicky's playing. Yeah, I want your opinion, yes.
Well, I agree with all of that, but I don't think that Nick was especially lucky there. I mean, Kim did miss the 6. He doesn't have to leave it all that tough. Nick could have had a lot better shot. But you're right on the money with your pace suggestion.
I don't know if it's quite advisable even to go after this shot, because that 9-ball is a big ball there.
He has to go after it, Billy. He's 5-1 behind. He's 5 games to 1 behind, and he has a shot. Now, if he didn't have a shot, I agree with you. I believe he still has another shot.
Okay, now he's got about this as well, or as good as he could have expected to got on that particular shot.
That's what he's looking at. I think that's the right shot.
He can actually roll this ball in, and the cue ball move half the distance where he marked it there. I mean, that's how slow this ball will come. That rail, this end rail will shorten that ball that much.
But these balls get hard to lag in sometimes when you're behind 5-1.
See how far the cue ball went? It went half the speed that he marked it there.
And the 7-ball went in with pretty much force. I mean, it went in quite easily. So therefore, he could have hit that even a lot softer than he did.
Right. You know, a lot of
sure done that.
A lot of people don't know why the shot that Kim had was hard and the shot Nick had was hard. When you cut the ball to the right, you put left English on it, right?
Right.
That makes it go a little bit from right to left, and there was only a half a pocket available there. I thought Kim might have some problems with his shot, and sure enough, he had to hit it hard.
Now, to see this, now here we're at 5-2. That was a giant game for Kim. 6-1 over 5-2 is like daylight and dark.
You think we'll see Nick slow down a little bit?
I think you're going to start seeing him slow down a little bit. He's still playing at a much quicker tempo than what he normally plays at, but he's got to slow down.
Well, he even kind of rushed around there to get at that break.
He sure did.
To see him do that.
Yeah, he did. That's what I say. He's playing a quicker tempo than what he normally plays.
He can get rail first to this
Okay,
ball,
now
buddy, I believe.
he can get rail first with this particular shot, Grady. At least that's the way I see it. And in doing so, he's going to go into that 7. So if he chooses to play the shot rail first, he has to make sure that he really strokes this ball so he gets away from that bottom rail.
The left English, he's not going to hit the 7 all that thick. The left English is going to carry him to the side rail.
The danger of this is hitting the 7 first. Hitting the 7 first is the danger here.
And I believe he's going to hit a little bit more of the 7 than you anticipate, Grady. After hitting the 7, he's going to carry him to that long rail, and he has to get away from that rail. He has to come up table.
Well, he's going to go right to the side rail if he makes a good hit off the 7.
If he can go in deep enough, what he might elect to do here is kick straight in behind the 1 and bump it out one rail. Just stick right there.
No, it's not that far off the rail.
Well.
Now you see where the cue ball went? See, he had to stroke the ball a little more than that to get out of that corner.
That's so hard to judge that hit there. The only way you can do it is see the way the 7-ball came straight down the table. It was a good hit, because if it had not been a good hit, the 7 would have went more to the left-hand rail. And that's what Joe had to assess his contact on that. That's how he judged the hit on that particular shot. Not being able to see the hit, he had to go by direction of the balls as to whether it was a good hit or not.
I see 2 shots here. The one he's looking at, go behind the 5 and 6, or he could actually bank the ball just to the left edge of the 9. Back up to the other end and the same shot over.
Yeah, I kind of like that shot. I think it's a lot less risky than the shot he's performing right now.
This shot, if you don't make a good, accurate 10 hit on it, the 2 can leak out of there. Oh, he played the 2.
Yeah, I like the other shot, but of course he went to the offense and played the two. And that two ball was just dangling there. I don't see how it stayed out.
Well, I got to say, he got robbed there a little bit. He had position on the four and would probably have gotten out.
Well, see, the ball's in so deep right now. If the see now, if that ball was to happen to fall in the hole, it would still be Kim's shot because Nick has left the playing area. Uh, the ball would come back up to its original spot, and it would still be Kim's shot. Do you think that's a good rule?
Well, you're allowed to wait for 10 or 15 seconds to see if it's still rolling and actually does draw.
I think he has an ideal angle to play position on the four here. He's going to just go. Look at that cue ball. He's flattened out on him there.
You know what that
That's
is?
so dangerous to
We've
shoot
been
that shot
talking
like that.
about it all along, buddy. That cue ball is lighter than the object balls, and it went more off of the ball than he wanted to. If that ball had been the same weight, he'd had just about the right hit to go 2 rails.
You know, my first impression of that particular shot that he had a very ideal angle to get back down table on the four ball. And after he hit that ball, it just it's like glued on that rail. It stayed on that rail. That wasn't the kind of reaction I expected to see when he hit that shot.
Well, he hit it kind of firm, and when he hit it firm, it took a dipping type of. That's kind of like a billiard stroke. You know what I'm saying? Like you were going to play a 3-rail billiard out of that corner using the side rail, you would hit it with that type of a stroke.
I think he hit the object ball a little too full.
Yeah, he definitely did.
Also, a high ball, as all billiard players know, makes the ball want to stick on the rail.
Well, I think Nick's going to get out of jump cue again, so
he may be able
He
to
may
hit
use
this straight on.
he may use his own cue here on the, if he does have to jump this, he may use his own cue instead of the jumper.
He may be able to shoot this straight in the pocket. No,
no, he's going up. So
but I don't think he's got a whole ball.
what do you
to go
think
over.
the chances are of him pocketing this four ball, Grady?
Even money.
Even money?
Billy owes me 3 dinners. You want another one?
Well, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'm not going to deny the fact that I don't owe you 3 dinners, but I'm going to make a proposition for you. If I owe you 3 dinners, and we'll say each dinner costs $25, which is a $75 investment, okay? Would you take 150, and I won't have to go out with you?
Boy, you would be doing me a double service.
Oh, he's not going to do that, Bill. He wants to punish you.
Even money? Is that what you said, Grady? Huh? Well, I think it was like a 3-to-1 favorite to make that ball.
What a great shot. Wasn't that a great shot? Can he hit the 5 now? Can he do anything with the 5?
Yeah, he can hit the 5
I don't
here.
think he's got anything.
Matter of fact, after hitting the 5, I think he's going to go in between the 7 and 9, and he's going to bank the 5 back up the table.
I
don't
would
think
say
he'll do
that may be the shot.
I don't think he's going to do that.
Well, what do you think he has in mind?
Well, he might play the billiard on the 9.
If he
Or
plays the
bank the
billiard
5.
on the 9, I'm going to buy 8 dinners.
Well, he might go through the 5, like so.
That's what we were talking about. That's the shot Billy described.
Oh, I thought he meant knocking the 5 through the 7 and 9.
No.
Knocking the 5
Well,
through the 7
I
and 9.
never assume that Billy will select the proper safety.
Well, the next time you and I play one pocket, I'm going to make you eat those words, Grady.
Oh, I love sitting up here with you guys. You're never a dull moment.
Well, you and I are always correct.
Well, Billy's right once in a
What
while.
would you do with this one, buddy? Oh, he's
Buddy,
gonna go there.
this is...
No, Billy, I'm playing. You're right all the time. I love your game. He's shooting a jumper.
Tell you what, he got robbed. He hit it pretty doggone good, didn't he?
He certainly did. And the 5 ball creeped up the rail, and now looks like it's finally rested in front of the side pocket. That's okay with Nick. He's trailing in this match 5 games to 2 with an opportunity to close it even further.
I want to ask Buddy
Nicky's
a
starting to
question.
walk a little slower.
On that type of shot, don't you aim a little thicker at it? Notice he missed it on the
Yeah.
overcut side. You got to aim a hair thicker,
Right.
don't you?
I'm sure he was doing that. But when that
And it
ball
was
leaves
still a
the
little too
table,
much.
when that ball leaves the table, it comes down. Where you aim and where it hits when that ball is jumping is 2 different places.
Sure.
What I mean by 2 different places, when you jump the ball like that, the ball makes contact sometimes with the object ball while it's still in the air. Therefore, your aiming point and your contact point are different elevations. Therefore, you get different angles off the object ball.
What you're saying is a round object contacting another round object with multicolored spheres is exciting and quickly paced.
Well, I don't know if that's exactly what I meant, but that'll do.
I'm just teasing. Sitting directly behind us, Mary Keniston, a member of Poole's local intelligentsia.
Okay, now you'll probably see Nicky start really slowing it down now. He's starting to slow down a little more each game.
Well, that is the end of game number 8. Nick Varner trails in this match at 5-3. Grady, it looks like the momentum is starting to change just slightly here. And Nick is a little more into his game, his type of a game. The pace is starting to slow down like Buddy suggested it was. And what does Nick really have to do now to assure himself of getting back into this match from this point? Does he have to keep this pace at this speed, or what?
I think he could do anything he wants at this juncture. He's a #1 rated player in the world. He's financially secure, and he expects to come from behind. He's been doing it all year long, and he sees no reason for it to change.
Okay, now he's made a ball on the break here, Grady. If he can pocket the 1 ball, I see him going. Do you see him twirling the cue ball, going 3 rails around, or you see him drawing the cue ball, maybe even brushing the 2 on the way back?
Well, I like the shot you're describing just because you can shoot that ball with just better than pocket speed. You'll make the 1 ball almost every time. Using inside English and going 3 cushions is risky at best. The other way, he could get over here frozen on the rail. If he overcut the ball a hair, he could still make it, scratching the side, hit the high side of the deuce.
I believe he's going to try to come right into the 2.
Right, that's the shot we're discussing.
Right. Pocketing the 1 ball, ensuring the accuracy of the shot by shooting it with that type of English. And also, if he misses the 2 ball coming out, fine. If he brushes the 2 ball coming out, he still figures to have a shot.
Right, he would have had to been real unlucky there not to have gotten a shot.
And you notice all week long, all these great professional players, they adopt the 100% make posture if they can. And as simplistic as it may sound, they realize if they pocket the proper ball, it's at least their shot and their opponent's not at the table. And if you get a little bit out of line, all of them have that great ability to adapt anyway.
Well, that's exactly right. Most importantly, when you're playing tournament pool against caliber of players like we see out there right now, Nick Varner and Kim Davenport, the most important thing is to remain at the table. Even if your position is a little suspect and you fall off of the line a little bit, you're at least at the table with the option to either go for the shot or play it safety.
Yeah. I don't like this here. He has to go inside the 7 on this shot. He has to draw this ball 1 rail to the side rail. He has to use 2 rail position here.
He's going to have to go in between the 7 and the rail and then be in position that way. I
Right.
don't see him drawing the ball in front of the 7. That's a little too risky.
No. He'll go right toward the chalk.
Here. He might go straight down the table.
I don't know about that. I like him going in between the rail and the 7, like Buddy suggests.
Yeah.
Like so. And hitting it with excellent speed, by the way.
He underhit
a little
it.
short. A little short.
The ball comes up short here. It looked like when he first hit it that he had excellent cue ball speed, and it's short.
There's a lot of luck in this sport. That's not a dissimilar shot to the one that Kim had. The difference here is that there's not an offending ball there to snooker Nick. So in that respect, perhaps Nick had a little bit the best of the 2 shots.
Well, he still got a very makeable shot. He paced it in.
He certainly did, and he finds himself in perfect line for the 7. He can do just about anything he wants with this ball.
Yeah, this is no problem, and we're going to be looking at a 4 to 5 game deficit. Big difference between that and 6 to 1, certainly. Nick a little bit fortunate. He started off this 4-game barrage by a ball accidentally going in the side pocket. Of course, he's had the composure to take advantage of it.
Well, that's where I'm talking about. That's what we were talking about a while ago, the pace of the game, being able to catch up from deficits down. Now, if Nick were to get 4 or 5 games ahead of Kim, I believe Kim would, don't misunderstand me, he still has more than enough ability to catch up, but it'd just be harder at his pace, at the pace that Nicky's going to set for him.
I would agree with you, except after watching the Davenport-Mizrak match the other night, I think Kim feels he can win from any score and any position.
Oh, he definitely can. Kim's a great player. I'm not saying that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that the slower pace is harder for the faster player to catch up at a slower pace when you get behind.
Oh, you are right about that.
Well, Nick was saying to himself, come on, 8-ball, let's go in there, 8-ball. And all of a sudden, the 4-ball came down, froze against the cue ball, and Nick said to himself,
I want to.
thanks a lot for not going in. I mean,
I want to ask Buddy something at this point. What do you think to yourself here, Buddy? Are you unhappy because you're snookered, or happy because Nick Varner's sitting down?
well, that's a pretty good question.
One thing, I'd I'd feel I'd feel terrible if I made a ball on a break. I would feel very lucky right here if I was Kim. I mean, if I was Nick.
Well, I think on the other hand, I would feel very, very fortunate if I was Kim, simply because Nick didn't make a ball on the break and get a shot on the one.
Kim still has an option to control the next shot. The other way, he's got no options. He's got to be happy to be shooting, but by the same token, you got to be happy that he was hooked if you're playing against him.
I don't know if Nick will accept this shot here. I don't see much that he can do to hurt Nick if he shoots this shot. Unless he can put him behind the 3 here. That's one thing. But other than that, I don't see much what he can do with
Have
this.
you ever given any thought to how much area of the table with 9 balls out there usually is in which a player might be snookered? It might interest you to know that there is an astounding 30-something% of the table surface in which you could be snookered.
Oh, there's a lot of room to be snookered, yeah.
Well, Nick's going to try to put him behind the 3 here. This was the only available shot he had. I don't even know if he should have taken this shot.
Well, the hole's blocked over here. If the 2 was sitting in front of the hole, he couldn't take that shot. But with the 2 sitting against the rail, it's a very high percentage shot for him to take. He's much better off taking the shot and leaving Kim this instead of taking this.
I don't see that Kim's got much here.
Well, that's 100% correct. Your assessment of that was right on the money one more time.
Kim didn't have anything.
Well, he's got a number of choices here, but none of them real good.
He has to be very careful he don't scratch on this shot, buddy.
He's got to play pretty fortunate here. He got to shoot it by the 9, I believe. Ooh.
I believe he miscued.
He did miscue.
You know, I like the shot I think he selected. I think he planned to pin the ball and go past the 6 to the end rail and go 2 rails down to the other end of the table.
He couldn't hit that much of the ball. It didn't look like. I thought he was trying to bank it 1 rail between the 6 and the 9 over to the side rail, just lag the cue ball down.
What we're going to see here is a little bit of a Kentucky pool, buddy.
Well, Kim, Nicky's, that's right down his alley. He's from Owensboro, Kentucky.
Yeah, Nick, a very underrated banker. He's not at all afraid to rear back and hit one of them cross-side.
No, he likes to play banks, too. He's a good bank pool player.
Sure. Well, all of you boys from Kentucky bank good.
And so does this man from Kentucky.
That was a nice speed he hit that with, too, buddy. Sure was.
You-
Not hard enough to jump it out of the hole, but not easy enough for it to roll long.
On this particular shot, do you shoot this shot with a little right-hand English clearing the 5, going in between the 5 and 7?
No, you hit it with you hit this shot with left-hand English and go 2 rails and take the cut on the 3. You don't take a chance on this type of equipment slides too much for that shot. In order to shoot that shot, you have to almost hit it with a draw stroke.
Really? With a middle ball with right-hand English? I think it's just natural to come out there.
Well, if he tipped to 5, you
I
end up
believe that
behind
he'll
7.
hit this with left-hand English.
Well, you're 100% right again, buddy.
It's really, really, really tough to shoot it the other way. You got 2 balls there you can get behind. This way you couldn't get behind anything.
What do you do here, buddy?
You just draw this ball back to the
I
side
think he's
rail and
gonna
out.
go around the 4.
Well, he can draw this ball to the side rail and out.
Yeah, in order to miss the 4, he's going to have to draw it.
I don't think he's going to do that. I think he's got a natural angle to go around the 4.
Well, if he can do that, then that is his option. If he can do that.
If he can do that, fine. But if he can draw the ball past the 4 to the side rail and back, that's a much better shot. Like so.
Oh, I thought he had more angle than that. Well, the pace of the match has certainly changed in Nick Varner's favor, as Buddy suggested it might.
Here's another 2 rail shot out of the corner here. Not
Absolutely, he's staying on the right side of the 5 also, in doing so. The wrong side of the 5 is the side of the 5 that he just walked on.
You might even go rail first here.
I'll tell you what he might do, knowing how these tables are reacting, he might be afraid of coming short on this ball. No, he's going to play it that way, high left. Boom, boom. Now he shouldn't have any problems at all getting out here and tying the match up. You know, there we go. Now we're going to be tied up. It's a slower down pace. It's going to be a good match.
It sure is, and this is the kind of year Nick is having, like 5-1, 6-0. It's been about an even match most of the time.
Ooh, he hit that a little shaky, didn't he?
I think he did. Anytime the ball hits the point like that and shakes his head and disappeared, you can safely suggest that he did hit it a little shaky.
That's how Billy shots look. Boy, he's wobbled a ton of them.
If anyone in the world I have put to sleep, it's certainly this man to my right, isn't it?
But you don't see Nick and Kim wobble too many of them.
How many battles have you guys had?
Oh, we've had many.
We've had a lot of battles in our 25 years of playing one another.
He looked like he almost got an extreme angle here.
Oh, he's okay. It's funny how those angles look deceptive from up here. They just don't look the same.
Well, that is the end of game number 10. And what we have now is a match all night tied up at 5 games apiece.
You know, I can't think of anything more fitting. It's December in Norfolk, a historic seaport town. We've got the number 1 and number 2 ranked players in the world competing for the U.S. Open title. It's been a wonderful week.
It certainly has, Grady. Matter of fact, you know, it's a very nice ballroom here. It's very spacious. There are quite a few people in here. They're all enjoying themselves. They've been witnessing some of the finest pool you could expect to find anywhere in the world. Okay, this is a very interesting layout. Quickly as I evaluate it, the 4 and 7 are tied up on the left-hand rail there. The 1 ball is located by the 9 with the possibility of him playing the combination here. How do you see it, buddy?
Well, if he can play the combination, he's going to play the combination. About his only out here is to use a inside English ball to play position from the 1 to the 2. If he's got a combination he can shoot at, he'll shoot at that rather than to shoot with inside English.
Yeah, because the lay of the 4 and 7 make running out a little tough here.
He probably can bank the 4 across side, but he hasn't given that much thought.
He's playing the combination.
Tough shot.
He hit it very well, but he hit it a tad bit too hard. I don't believe that Nick Varner has much to work with here.
I think he can get to the right side of the 7 and hook him in that manner, striking the 1 thinly and very
It's
safe.
awfully close. It's awfully close. It's awfully close.
Well, Nick excels at this type of shot. Plays real good shot. He did leave him an edge, didn't he?
No, I don't think he's left him an edge, but he has to find out if the 1 ball was frozen. If the 1 ball was frozen here,
well, if it's not frozen, he's going to play a 2-rail shot, an umbrella shot. Well, frozen makes a big difference. He's got to hit this like a break shot.
Told him it's froze.
what happens if he hits the 1 ball, it hits the 7, and goes back to the rail? Was that a good hit?
Yeah, that was a good hit. No, that would not be a good hit. What he would have to do there, see, the ball was froze to the 1. I mean, the 1 was froze to the rail. And he wouldn't be able to judge it off of the rail back to the 7. You know what I mean? Off the rail, back to the 7, back to the rail. It would have been too hard to judge. He would have had to call a foul if he didn't reach another rail.
In other words, since it would be inconclusive, then you would determine it was a foul.
Right, right. That's exactly right. It always goes to the player. Now, if it's inconclusive like that, it goes to the player as a foul. Now, if you have a split hit in pool where it looks like you hit both balls at the same time and you can't determine which ball you did hit at the time,
it goes to the base runner.
It goes to the base runner. It goes to the shooter.
And here's another even money kick.
The same way with a foul. The foul goes to the shooter as well as the offensive shot.
Nick Varner kicks balls so well, Grady.
That shot's even money for a good kicker.
Yeah, especially a kicker like Nick Varner. I mean, you see him continuously kicking balls, hitting them on the nose, and pocketing balls when he has to.
Now, this takes a good hit.
He can't
mess
run
around
run
with
into
that
that
nine.
9 here. It's going to be close to run into that 9. He brushed it. Does it have enough speed to clear the 6?
No, no, it doesn't.
Now I know we're going to see Shorty, right?
Absolutely. You're definitely going to see him bring out the jump stick here. Matter of fact,
He's going to unsheath it at this very moment.
once again, I believe he's even money or better to pocket this ball, buddy.
Yeah. But the problem with this particular shot, he's got to hit the cue ball low. He's going to be drawing his cue ball. Now, for him to have a shot, if he pockets the 4, is going to be highly unlikely. There's a real good chance he'll be over somewhere around the 8. He didn't hit it with a low ball. See, it's so deceiving from up here. The angles are just, well, they're real deceiving from up here.
Buddy, has
How
he
strong
nicknamed-
is the jump cue?
Oh, it's an unbelievable weapon. You have to have one in self-defense. That's why I tell all these players, if you don't have a jump cue right now, you're at a tremendous disadvantage in these world tournaments.
I
Has he
believe
nicknamed his short cue?
The jumper is all I've heard him call it, the jumper.
I don't think he has time to nickname his cues right now, buddy. Grady, the only thing he has time for is winning tournaments, it looks like.
And he's
I
doing
named
rather well
mine.
at that.
I didn't nickname it. Nathaniel, they called him Buddy's Buddy, and I'm using Nathaniel's cue, which is short like a jump cue, and I call it Buddy's Buddy.
Well, that's a really a very good name for a jump cue, especially since your name is Buddy. To call your jump cue Buddy's Buddy, because in fact that's exactly what it is.
Right, Nick's
Billy's
could be
baby.
Nick's could be Nick's Buddy.
I want to ask you a question, buddy. I was just asked a very interesting question by Ken Taylor from Fresno. He wanted to know who invented the jump cue. I think that's generally attributed to Sammy Jones, is it not?
Well, Sammy always used a shaft. Pat Fleming got the idea, I believe, from Sammy Jones with the jump cue, seeing that he could jump the ball so well with just a shaft. Pat added a little extra dimension to it and came up with the jump cue. I believe the inventor of the jump cue in itself was Pat Fleming, our ACCUSTATS man.
My mentor, Pat
That's
Fleming.
very interesting.
Yeah.
Your
Pat's-
mentor and
Pat's-
your superior.
Pat is a very innovative person. I mean, he comes up with a lot of things.
Okay, at the end of game number 11, for the first time in this match, we see Nick Varner with the lead at 6-5. I don't know, buddy, if it's good for us that Pat Fleming came with the jump cue, especially for me. I know it's not good for me because I don't even have a jump cue. So I'm kind of hot at Pat for coming out with this jump cue. I mean, I've been, my game is to put my opponent behind balls, and now all of a sudden it doesn't do me any good.
Well, now you have to be real accurate and get him real close to it when you get him behind it.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm trying to do now. Instead of just getting my opponent behind balls, I'm just going to have to freeze him to balls and just, snug up to all the balls. That way he can't jump over them unless I'm playing Sammy Jones. He'll take out the shaft and jump over that,
Right. So best thing for you to do is get you a jump cue in case somebody puts you behind one.
And I've already named it for you, Billy's baby.
And Mary Kennison said that a good name for a jump cue would be Nick. Considering how small Nick is, that'd be just a good name for a jump cue because a jump cue is small, I take it back. She didn't say that. I said that, Nick. No, Nick has a very good sense of humor. He can find humor in just about anything, providing he keeps winning.
That's exactly. Nick is a good boy. He does find humor. He doesn't take offense because he knows that no offense was intended. You know what I mean?
Nick is really a pretty good guy. I don't know anybody dislikes Nick.
No one but his opponent at the table.
Yeah, I got a little hot at him myself. Just joking.
Oh, he struck those balls extremely well. I don't believe he's going to pocket anything, but he certainly hit the ball, the one ball as square as it could possibly be hit.
And his opponent is hooked.
But still, at the table, that's a plus.
At the table. At the table.
Well, if you notice, the last two times Nick failed to pocket a ball on the break, Kim Davenport has been hooked, not hicked. Nick is Nick, and hicked is not Nick. But the last two times, Kim Davenport has been at the table after Nick had broken the balls, not pocketing a ball on the break. He's been hooked.
Well, why
okay?
should you draw such attention to something I've been watching Siegel do for 10 years?
Well, this is... You're great for breaking my trend of thought, Grady. You know, you can be eliminated. Believe me, there's a lot of other people here that can take your place.
Well, he's going to have to push out here. That's better than having Nick still at the table shooting, was my point.
That's how Mike Siegel got his nickname. That's how he got his handle, Captain Hook.
How's that?
Well, he'd break the balls and run out, break the balls and run out, break the balls and hook his opponent. He started calling himself Captain.
Well, he
Captain
might be
Hook.
he surely might be the greatest player ever lived. In addition to being a great champion and no weaknesses, I'll give you an idea. I shot 940 against him once, and the ACCUSTATS got beat 11-4.
This is perfect speed right here. Perfect speed.
Yes, it is. He may have a rail behind the 8.
Now, intentionally or unintentionally, some of it obviously wasn't planned. Nick is pretty much controlling Kim's opportunities at the table. They happen to have been 0 the last few games.
He's controlling the tempo now. He's slowed it down to his pace.
Okay, now if he has a rail behind the 8, buddy, it's a very, very small area and quite a difficult.
Well, he's going to hit.
He has
this
quite
one.
a difficult problem here.
Have you noticed now? Kim is starting to play more of Nick's pace. He's slowing his game down.
Well, buddy, in Kim's defense, he can't do anything other than be playing slow because he hasn't had a shot.
I know, but what I'm telling you is, the person that has control of the game sets the tempo for the game. That's the point I'm trying to get across. Now, right now, Nick's got control of the game. Nick's setting the pace for the game, so both people are playing closer to Nick's pace than they are Kim's pace.
He got it a little bit long, and these rails have been going slightly
He
long
gets to
all
sit
week.
down for 5 more minutes. You know what I mean? It takes Nick a long time to run out.
And especially the kind of guy that Kim Davenport is, he has an extreme amount of energy that he has to waste out there, you know. And it's awfully tough for him to do that sitting in that chair.
It certainly is. Now, don't anybody misinterpret what I'm saying. Kim is a great player, and Kim can still win this match very handily from here. In fact, he could even run away with this match from right here. But I'm saying right now the match is going in Nick's favor. The tempo, the pace, everything's going Nick's way. That has to change before it can go Kim's way.
Well, he's got to get a good shot before he can do much anything. And I think that says a lot about who wins some of these tournament matches. You got to get a decent number of opportunities.
And that's exactly right. 9-ball is a game of opportunities. And the man out there is one of the more opportunist people in the game today. Whenever he has an opportunity, he certainly makes good with them. And Nick Varner has an opportunity again to increase his lead over Kim Davenport. Right now, he leads the match 6 games to 5.
And Kim could pull a patented Lassiter trick. Lassiter, when he was in a spot like this and couldn't seem to disrupt the other guy's momentum, he'd read a magazine while the other guy was shooting.
Do that. I've seen poker players do that. If the cards aren't running toward them, they just read a magazine and look at their hand every time the cards are dealt and just wait for them to change.
Well, that's not a good idea. You can't watch the dealer
you know,
to
I
see
once,
if somebody's holding out, you know.
I once watched a tournament on television. I believe it was between Eddie Taylor and someone else. They were playing one pocket. And whenever Eddie Taylor's opponent was at the table, he wouldn't even watch him perform. Is that true, buddy?
When Eddie Taylor's opponent was at the table?
Yeah, Eddie turned away from the table, didn't even want to watch it.
No, Eddie paid close attention to the game when both people were playing.
Then it must have been Eddie Taylor's opponent that was the one in the chair. And who may that have been? I don't remember who it was right now.
There's a possibility of that happening, but you would be robbing yourself of a tremendous amount of knowledge that you could capture there. You need to watch somebody like Eddie Taylor play because he's a master of the game. He really knows how to play.
That's exactly right. And you know Eddie Taylor as well as anyone does. You spent quite a bit of time with Eddie Taylor, haven't you?
Yeah, I have. And maybe Martin Kyman might have looked away. Omaha Bats.
Omaha
He might
Bats,
have looked
what
the
is
other
beautiful.
direction.
He was beautiful. The one-armed bandito.
Yeah. Omaha.
You know, at one time in this match, Kim Davenport was leading in this match at 5 games to 1. If Nick Varner pockets the 9-ball here, which it's highly unlikely that he won't, He will then take the lead 7-5, winning 6 consecutive games.
You know, I've been asked a lot of times what's the most racks I ever saw ran, and Martin Kyman, Omaha Fats, before he died, claimed to hold the high record of 17 racks for $3 a game.
Omaha's the only person I ever seen that made that made Minnesota Fats shut up, made him quieten down. They had a verbal. They were having an argument one time, and Fats is always talking about how much money he's got and everything. He says, Fats, he says, I pay more for my underwear than you do a suit. He said, well, you should. It takes more material. Never come back for that.
Oh, that was kind of cute, buddy. Okay, anyways, Nick Varner checked the rack of Joe Kerr when he pushed him up there. Approved of it. Now he's breaking the balls.
My favorite story about Fatty, he told Moscone back during the Depression that.
Okay, let hold it a second. Now let's get back to the action
This won't
here.
take but a
No,
second.
let's get back to the action there. Now, once again, take note. Once again, Nick Varner failed to pocket a ball on the break, and once again, Davenport does not have a shot. He disgustedly threw down the towel that was in his hand when he seen what was developing.
And if Grady might want to commentate on this, Grady, where would you push out? This is a tremendously hard push out from here.
Well, I wouldn't push out
You
down
push
here.
no, you push out to
This
you're
left-hand
dead.
corner towards us is where I would have pushed.
Oh, he's pushing out for a kick here, it looks like.
Out to hook him, yeah.
Well, if he pushes out for a kick, that's not so bad.
Yeah, that's exactly what it done. He pushed out for a kick, which that is not bad. In fact, that is probably the shot, because he pushed out anywhere. If he can hit it to make it, he's going to shoot it in. If he can hit it to play safe, he's
But
going
he
to
can hit this.
Well, if he can hit it, Kim Davenport's going to find himself somewhere behind that 9 or the 7.
He's going to be real close to that 9 ball.
Well, he didn't get behind the 9, and by hitting the 9, he's giving Kim an opportunity to hit the 1 ball. Whether or not Kim can do anything hitting with it remains to be seen.
Well, this is not
All
what
he
I'd
can
call
do
a
is
really
he
up
just
tempo.
doesn't have anything here. He's,
Oh, what a nice
man,
hit.
what a shot.
What a nice
I believe
hit.
he's going to...
What a hit.
Okay, now for the last 6 games, it looks like Kim Davenport has been playing the Nick Varner's tempo, but I believe it's now time for this to change.
Did you see that, Billy?
Did Kim go to the jump stick and offer it to Nick?
I think that aptly describes Kim's sentiments about the jump cue.
Well, I'll tell you, boys, it's something you have to live with right now. The jump cue is here, and it looks like it's here to stay. Its popularity is growing every tournament.
Well, if anyone can hit this ball, this is one of the players in the tournament or in the world that I would like to have shooting it.
He's going to try to go 3 rails, 2 or 3 rails coming behind that ball.
He's going to go between the 2 and 3 and go 1 cushion.
Right? No, I don't think he's going to go 1. I think he's going to go try to
Well, if he hits it there, he can't hit it going 1 cushion. He's going to have to lengthen it out and go 3 cushions, or at least 2 cushions and hit it on the backside.
Listen, don't tell me about this. Nick and I discussed this type of shot. In fact, he beat Earl in the Rack 'em Up Classic with a shorten up shot. In fact, I'd venture to say that he's about a 40 or 45.
Well, with the shortened up shot, he would hit further up on the rail. He's trying to lengthen this out. I think he's going to go behind the 1 ball here.
I think so too. No, he hit it 1 rail. He shot at 1 rail. Personally, I would have. He went 1 rail right in the hole.
Yeah, well, I thought that he would go behind the 1 ball, shooting it like from that particular angle.
Yeah.
Kim needs to get out this rack.
Well, the 5 ball presents a problem for him too, Grady. You know, it's not. Does it pass the 9? Does the 5 pass the 9?
I think it passes the 9.
Now, let's see what pace, what tempo Kim tries to run this rack with. And see if you get some kind of idea of what I was talking about earlier.
Now, a more immediate problem is the 3 ball. He's got to get pretty good on this deuce. Okay, he's all right there.
Unless he finds himself a little too straight.
No,
I
he's
don't
all
think
right.
he is, though.
Kind of punched this over and played a 3 in the same
see what
pocket
I
he
mean?
made the
See?
1 in.
See what I mean? Now he has slowed down. He's slowed down. He's extra cautious.
Looks like he's drawing it back or something here.
He's going to the side rail. No, you're right, Billy. Drew it back. I thought he was going to the side rail with it.
Well, he didn't really get where he wanted to get on this 3. Matter of fact, I believe he is considerably out of line considering where he has to get on the 5.
You got to watch out for the 6.
The 4. He has to get on the 4.
Yes, but he has to get on the 4 before he can get on the 5, and that's what I said. He's out of line on the 3 considering where he has to get on the 5. He has to get good position on the 4, and he wasn't really in a good position on the 3 to get position on the 4 to get to the 5.
The way these rails lengthen out, Kim, you need to be careful not to bank this 4 across
Oh, he's
the
going
corner.
to duck. Yeah, he's going to duck here. He's going to.
But he wants to be sure he doesn't make it.
I tell you, if he can hit enough of this ball, he's got to duck.
Oh, there's no question he must duck here. And Grady's right. He might make this cross corner.
Oh, he overhit it. He
See how that
overhit
kind
it.
of lengthening out? If
He
he'd been
overhit
harder,
it.
he might have made it.
Okay, now that just goes back to what Buddy had mentioned. This tempo has been Nick Varner's tempo, and now Kim Davenport is really out of rhythm. Yeah, he overhit that, but if Kim Davenport would have been playing at his tempo, you can rest assured that cue ball would have been stuck against that 6.
Right, that's exactly right. What Kim has to do, he has to reverse it. See, Nicky was able to reverse it. He got the game going at his pace. Now what Kim has to do, he has to reverse this pace, which is harder to do for a faster player. He's got to crank it up. He's got to set the moment. He's got to get it going faster.
Watch this shot. Let's watch this shot. That's exactly right. This is going to be a beautiful shot if executed. No, he brushed a 9 there. He brushed a 9, and I believe he's blocked the path of the 5 ball into the corner pocket.
No, he's not looking at it.
I believe
He's looking at the
shot.
6 to see where to get on it.
He looked at it and it didn't seem like he was unhappy about it.
But this is a very difficult shot in itself because he has to get down the other end of the table. He's going to have to hit this with a very hard stroke and draw it nicely. Oh, he's hit it very nice.
Yeah, he sure did.
He sure stroked that.
Things
That
are
was
just
nice
going
and
his
smooth.
way right the minute. That has to change.
It doesn't have to change.
No, I mean, you know what I mean. In order for this to be a more evenly tempoed match, that it has to change.
Well, Kim would like it to change.
Well, Kim catches breath here. Kim will change it. Kim is a great player. He's going to change the tempo of it. Maybe not this, evidently not this rack, but he's going to get an extra boost and an extra fired up reaction here in a few minutes and pick the pace up. He'll pick it up out of what Billy was talking about, out of just a lot of unused energy.
If given the opportunity.
Right. Well, he'll get the opportunity again to do that again before 6 games are up.
Well, I don't know. I mean, Nick strung out 6 consecutive wins here when Nick and Kim didn't have an opportunity during that entire course.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, these matches are like a roller coaster ride with all the ups and downs sometimes. I agree with Buddy. Kim will show some life here. He maybe should have taken a little bit extra time. Like that 3-ball shot, he didn't get quite far enough. There's a shot where he could have been too far and been fine. Instead, he came up a little short, and it caused him to not get out.
Yeah. Nick's got everything going his way right now.
Well, at the end of game 13, gentlemen, Nick Varner 8, Kim Davenport 5.
He's getting all the rolls. He's playing like a world champion on top of it. Kim's getting no rolls at all. We've seen that out of Nick's last 3 breaks. He's broken the balls and hooked Kim.
I want to
the balls
ask you a
and
question,
hooked
buddy.
him. Broke them and hooked him.
Nick's won 12 matches or 12 tournaments this year. In 1974, you won 11 and finished second in 2 other ones. Did you have a preponderance of the rolls? You get good rolls that year?
Oh, yeah. Every time it seemed like I needed something to happen, it happened. Yeah. Yeah. It just seemed like I got every roll that year.
Kind of goes with the territory. I guess a guy gets playing good and expects to be able to come from behind and figures to win close matches.
Well, Earl won 2 or 3. He was Player of the Year a couple of years in a row there, and everybody was screaming how lucky Earl was. Mike had a tremendous year. He won almost every tournament he played in 1986. Everybody's screaming how the rolls that he got. But I think it comes with the territory. The person that's playing the best is going to get the best rolls.
That's exactly right. And the best way to put that is you create roles for yourself. You know, you create roles. You play better safeties. You come with better shots. You put more intimidation into your opponent. You create roles.
And the
You make.
balls know who's playing.
I don't know about all that stuff, pal.
If you think they
I
don't
don't know. Do you ever talk to a ball and have it answer you?
I've talked to it many times.
I believe you have. That's why I know you're wrong. You see, the balls really don't know who's supposed to win.
And that's why you're sitting here after having not even entered this star-studded event.
A friend of mine told me once, he says, man, he says, that cue ball does exactly what you want it to do. I said, well, it should. I raised it from a marble.
All right. Game number 14. Nick Varner 8, Kim Davenport 5. There goes the 6 on the side. Almost.
This is a switch. This is the first open shot that Kim has started with in, 7 games?
I don't
That's
think
exactly
you can
right.
get to the end rail here, buddy. How do you play position on this?
Well, he can get to the end rail, 2 rails. He can definitely get to the end rail, 2 rails out of the corner.
You got to go 2 rails out of the corner, but you got to be real cautious of the 4. He don't want to get behind the 4. And the pace that he's got to shoot it, that 4 is an awful big ball.
That's exactly right, because he has to get fairly deep in the corner to obtain the proper angle on the 2. He needs a shot on the 2, and to get a shot on the 2, he's going to be working pretty close to that 4.
He doesn't like it. He's looking at it, and I don't blame him. If he
No.
can get to the end rail, he can't get to enough of it to ensure getting down here, especially considering the cue ball's a little lighter than the object ball this week.
He's got to pace it. He has to pace this shot. And
He's
like I
got to
said,
shoot at a slow, medium speed.
right, and the 4 is about the size of a basketball.
At least. And I agree totally with Buddy's assessment there.
But he's doing something else now. He's on the bottom of the cue ball. I don't know what that is. Maybe he's going around 3 rails to this side of the table. Oh, he's accepting. Oh, I don't understand that.
He's going to play him
He
safe
must
here.
have had an angle to go right in the hole on that shot or something.
I don't know what he was thinking about, but I agree with Grady. He must play safe now.
Well, he saw it as I did.
He's going to
Not-
stick him behind 3 if he can.
Not a comfortable shot.
He might be even banking the 2 at the same time, which is ill-advised. Oh, he fell short. He's fell short. Now, once again, I want to go back to what you stated a little earlier. The reason this is all happening is because Nick Varner has slowed down the pace of this match. Kim Davenport has taken Kim Davenport out of this match with the slow pace. And Kim Davenport doesn't have the feel at this stage of the match that he once had in the beginning of the match.
Now, how quickly
I
you
agree,
guys' memories
100%.
desert you. This all started when Nick ratted the ball on the side and got the whole ball rolling. Not to take
I
anything
don't
away from
remember
Nick.
it.
He's
I
taking
don't
great
remember.
advantage of everything, and he's
Did he
playing
like a ball on
terrific
the
pool.
side? I don't remember.
I don't even know why that had anything to do with my statement anyways.
Well, I'd say. Oh, look here. Look at, now look at the rolls he's getting. Look at the rolls he's getting. Oh, he's got a shot. He's got a shot.
Buddy, your attitude lately has been so great. I can't help but think to myself in a position like that, even if the 2 had ended up squarely behind the 8, you say to yourself, hey, the guy got a lucky leave, but he missed a shot where he could have ran out.
Well, I look at it like this, Grady. Here in the last year or so, I feel like the good Lord has blessed me to the point to where anything happens still should be a blessing.
Well, actually,
Well, that's wonderful to have that type of a feeling inside of you.
being healthy and able to play championship pocket billiards is a nice thing in itself.
Yeah. Oh, he's just not getting any rolls.
Well, it was hard to expect to get a shot off of that type of an angle running into the 4. There were just so many bad things that could happen. If he would have gotten the shot on the 3 ball, he would have been very, very fortunate, I do believe. But everything seems to be happening against Kim Davenport.
Yeah, he's got to be. He needs to be able to play safe off of this. But he's going to try to go behind the 7, maybe.
He needs to get a good roll here and maybe get a safety.
And that's not what he has, Grady. He's left the 3 balls directly in front of the corner pocket. Nick Varner stepping to the table, leading in the match 8 games to 5, with an excellent opportunity to even extend it further.
I might would have tried to hit 2 rails deep on that 3. Try to hit it kind of solid so the cue ball would go toward the 7.
Yeah, that's a one-pocket shot. It's a dead billiard towards the 6 and 7. Tough to
that way,
execute.
he's got something out there that he could possibly get behind.
Well, I'd like to see Kim
Now-
get real positive about everything,
Well,
despite all the adversity.
I would too. I'd like to see it turn into a real good match. But
I'd like to see
if-
Kim's face.
if you notice right now, if anything, Nicky is slowing it down even more.
Let's take a
Good
look
point.
at Kim. I
Good
mean,
point.
he seems to be really sedate in the chair over there. I mean, I know he's really frustrated at
churning
what's happening.
inside.
He's burning up inside, and he's not showing it.
That's one of the most frustrating feelings in the world. He's saying to himself, "Hey, I'm one of the best players in the world. I think I am the best player in the world, and I'm not getting anything to shoot at." I said, "That's not a good
That's
feeling."
exactly right. You know, I mean, he's faced Nick Varner in so many tournaments, finishing second to the man. He knows that he owes Nick Varner quite a few, and he felt going into this match he had the ability and the confidence to give him one of those that he owed.
Yeah. Yeah, he beat him last week. It wasn't an MPBA tournament though. It was a pretty good tournament, but it wasn't the Men's Professional Billiard Association.
And it wasn't the
tournament.
U.S. Open, was it?
Right, it wasn't the U.S. Open. Believe me, Kim would love to win this. And nothing against either one of them. I'm pulling for both of them to do as well as they can. I'd like to see Kim win some tournaments. But by the same token, I'd like to see Nick win some. I'd like to see all of us win some tournaments. I wish we had enough of them to where we could all win some.
Okay, now if the 6 can pass the 7 safely,
If
that-
so, he's gotten a pretty good angle.
that's exactly right. He's gotten in almost an ideal angle. It may appear that the shot may be quite difficult, but if he pockets the 5 ball in the corner pocket, he should come out 2 rails in perfect line for the 6 ball.
What he has to do here, he has to get straight in on the 6th. He can't play an angle on the 6th. He needs, well, I mean, he can play an angle on it, but he wants to get as straight in as he possibly can on the 6th.
Well, why is he elevating on this shot?
He's elevating because he wants to get straight in on the 6, just like Buddy suggested he needed to.
Well, why? Well,
See, this shot here, the 7 becomes a bigger ball. Now he's got about a 3 or 4 inch gap he's got to shoot through there. Now if he hits the rail before he gets to the 7, he could hit the 7. He could hit the 7 going.
this may
He's
be
gotta
one of
clear
those.
the 7.
This may be one of those shots where the cue ball hits the point and actually goes back towards the other end of the table a little bit.
Back up on it, John. Give us
This is kind of tough here. He's gonna have to pace it in.
a big pocket there, Buddy.
Well, that's
Yeah,
the same pocket,
that's what
but
he
he
had
made
to
that tough 3-ball shot on.
That's the same shot I made the 3 ball in.
Very big pocket. He needed that entire pocket to make that type of a shot, especially the way that he hit it. But of course, not taking anything away from Nick Varner, he understood before he shot that shot, if he hit that shot with that type of accuracy, the pocket should take it.
How long has it been since
Well,
Kim
this-
won a game? This is 8 in a row. I
Well, he
believe.
had him 5-1, didn't he? Or 5-2.
He had him
4-1,
5-1.
5-1.
Now it's 9-5. That's 8 consecutive games Nick Varner has won.
Buddy, this is a big, big change from the tournament held at Barry's Pool Room, where most of them were, all of them except one other one and this one. Those tables, the equipment, it was always humid. The pockets were extra tough. You couldn't cheat any kind of pocket.
Right. I love the equipment over at Barry's Pool Room. See, those tables are older. The rubber is harder. The ball is a lot livelier rubber than what we're playing with now. The only thing I disliked about having the tournament over there is, like you said, the humidity, and it was just way too crowded. Barry made a great move bringing it over here.
Oh, I think so too. I'm just wondering, and I'm not denigrating this tournament. It's been a terrific tournament. The equipment's been good. I'm just wondering to myself if perhaps the U.S. Open, just like they do at the golf, shouldn't have absolutely the toughest equipment. I kind of enjoy that aspect of it.
Sure, yeah, me too. I think it should have. But in order to get the toughest equipment, he's going to have to. Well, I don't know what he's going to have to do. I really don't know what I'd be talking about there. I don't know how he'd go about getting the toughest equipment. Shim the pockets up, put maybe some Simonis cloth on the tables.
Okay, he pocketed the 1 ball in the side pocket. The cue ball's resting against the bottom rail. He looked at the 2 ball to see if it would pass by the 8 into that corner pocket. If, in fact, the 2 ball will pass by the 8 into the corner pocket, there's no question he must attempt to shoot this
Do
shot.
you want me to tell you what he's going to do?
If he should happen to hit the 8 while he attempts to cut that 2 ball in the side pocket, it should go to the side rail and back out to the middle of the table, leaving Kim Davenport no shot one more time.
Do you want the Mathews prognosis?
Well, not right now, Grady. What do you think, buddy?
I'd say he'll shoot it that way. He'll probably try to put the cue ball behind the 3 and 7. Behind the 3 and 7 if he could hit it hard enough. He didn't hit it hard enough for that.
Well, he hit the shot exactly the way I figured he might hit it, and the results were just
Well,
about what
that's
I
exactly
suggested.
what I thought he'd do. He
Well,
didn't hit it hard enough to get behind the 3.
I'd like to make a prediction here. I think Kim, he's got a natural safety here, but he's also got a great big pocket up there with the 7 sitting there. He'd bank this ball automatically, bank it wide. He might have a chance to get back in the game.
I don't think he's going to elect to shoot that shot. He has two choices right here, buddy, that I see. One being putting behind the 4, the other hitting the 2 into the 8, going 2 rails possibly behind the 9-6.
That's the shot to go behind the 9-6. But I'm telling you, when you're down 9-5, you start looking for offense.
Would you like the solution to an enigma?
Would love to have it. Give us the solution.
A lot of guys don't do one thing that's very elementary in one pocket. You say to yourself, what is the other guy going to do if I leave him such and such position? Now, the 2-rail safety, because these tables are slow.
He hit it short at one more time.
See how
He hit
this
it
is doing
short.
where he can see it?
He hit it short because he's out of the tempo of the game that he's accustomed to playing. His speed has now abandoned him.
I like
Yeah.
Buddy's thinking on that.
I believe Nicky will try to tend this ball and go back up table. If it's pros, he might even try to spin it in.
Or he can
I don't
shoot
think you'll
past-
be seeing him spin it in, buddy.
he
I
can
don't
shoot-
believe he'll be spinning this one in. I like him hitting the right-hand side of the 2 ball and spinning up toward the 3 ball with the cue ball. Maybe he can get the cue ball behind the 3 ball.
I like that shot too, yeah. I think that's the shot he's elected to shoot. How well is he playing? He hit it perfectly.
Yeah, that was a nice thin hit.
Well, it appears now that Kim Davenport is in a trap here. I have a real risky shot that I like to share with you people here. You want to listen to it?
You're going to go underneath the 4-2 cushion?
No, I'm just going to roll the ball down and hit the right-hand side of the 2 and just hope that I can just hit it at the speed where the 2 ball will settle on the rail. I can just slide off the 8 and hook him that way. I don't see anything else he can do.
I've often wondered.
He's going behind the 4. He's going to try to miss the 4.
2 rails around the 4. That's
what
had
a
to be the
shot.
right shot.
What a
Now,
shot.
your selection, Billy, confirmed
What a
every
shot.
suspicion I've ever had about you. You wanted him to lag the ball 9 feet and move the 2 ball an inch.
See, that's the secret of success, buddy. You know you have a fool next to you, and he's listening intently to everything you say. So it's good to say something that you know he would figure would be completely foolish, and then you have him trapped for life.
You guys have like
Have you ever heard of a more difficult or ill-advised safety than the one our erstwhile colleague suggested?
Well, I have to agree with you, Grady. I was kind of delirious when I suggested he should do that. But sitting next to someone like you for 5 or 6 or 7 hours, some of them it has to rub off, you know.
That's true. I'm sure that some of that
Is he
great
going to go
movement
behind this or hit it
will come
straight
to you.
on? He's trying to bank this ball in 1 rail.
Drag it in where?
No, he's going behind it. He's going behind it. With this shot.
Going to be. Well, I don't believe so. I don't believe so.
But he has another kick. He still has a kick shot at the 3, I believe.
And about an even money one at that.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. He has a big pocket down there.
Yes, it is. It is just a giant pocket. But believe me, he would much rather Kim be shooting now than himself.
Well, he doesn't have a choice there, buddy.
Right.
Grady, you have a better angle than we do. Can he hit that rail to kick this 3 in?
Sure, you use a mirror system, see him measuring it.
No, he's behind the 4 ball here. Even if he kicks the 3 ball in, he can't obtain position on the 4 ball. So he's really faced with a problem here.
He'll have to, if he's trying to do that, he'll crank it hard.
Yeah, he's going to have to crank it.
Well, he's not going to get on the 4 no matter what speed he hits.
He might be trying to get behind the 7.
That would be a daring shot.
Good shot.
Now, that's exactly what he tried to do. And that's the shot that you mentioned that he might try to do. When he shot that ball, I noticed that the angle was going down on the table, and I snapped. That's the shot Buddy said he was going to try to do. He executed it perfectly. Kim Davenport appears to be behind the 7, buddy.
I believe he is behind the 7. He may have some. He may be able to hit the rail. If evidently he has a shot.
Great shot.
Great shot. He's liable to get right back in the game
He
here if he
almost
whacks
shot
this.
that
And
with
now,
a vengeance.
now,
I think
now
he's
notice,
upset.
notice. Now he's picked up the tempo. He picked up the tempo. He got right down to the shot. He got right down to it. He didn't stall around.
He's going to come up short here. There's no chance of him coming up. He's going to come up short here. Can he bank it cross-side?
Yeah. Now notice how much quicker he's starting to play. He may have got refueled. You know what I mean?
He's come short, and he's scratched. He's come short and he's scratched. He's thoroughly frustrated at this time, buddy. I mean, from playing flawless pool to sitting in that chair for the last 44 minutes, and then finally getting an opportunity, making a good shot, then scratching in the corner, he's thoroughly frustrated.
Very frustrated.
He might should have taken a little extra time on that 4 and reminded himself that this equipment's somewhat slow. You really got to slug that ball to get up and down.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I can't argue that. But, well, this is just one of those things that everybody's been coming up short, and it's real possible that he hit the 4 just a little fat. If he'd hit a little thinner, he'd have got a little longer.
That's true. Well, I still give Kim a chance here. He's got the heart of a lion, and I know he's thinking to himself, I'm going to get me an opportunity and make the most of it. You ever go to the bathroom in a spot like this, buddy, and say to yourself, look, you got a chance to make history, kid. Let's get out there and shoot
Yeah,
a common sense shot.
sometimes you want to go to the bathroom, check your ID and all that stuff. Makes you say, this guy know who he's playing. Maybe I better check, see if he's right.
Well, you know, when you were playing Kim Davenport, I believe it was earlier in the day, you went through like a little letdown there for about 2 or 3 games, and then you went to the bathroom, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Would you mind sharing with us what exactly you were thinking about while you were in the bathroom?
I needed to use the bathroom, Bill.
Anyway,
Well,
looks
that's
like
possible.
It's going to be 10-5.
Well, after game number 15, buddy,
Anyway, you're going to listen
it
to
looks
this
like
quick
Kim Davenport
20-second
finds himself
story.
trailing in this match 10 games to 5. And at one time in this match, he was leading 5 games to 1. That's 9 consecutive games. Nick
You're going to
Varner
listen
has
to this
won.
20-second story now. Fatty told Moscone that he was playing for $100,000 during the Depression, and that Moscone had a friend who owned a vineyard, and they played 500 points of straight pool for a grape. Of course, that's ridiculous.
No. You know, I have often remembered Fatty saying to people that if you owned a vineyard, you wouldn't bet a grape.
Well, I heard the story verbatim, and my stories aren't subject to exaggeration.
He told Ronnie Allen once, he said, why would I want to play you, son? he says, I draw people by the millions. He said, if I set you on fire at 4th and Broadway in downtown New York, you couldn't draw 8 people.
Fatty, he's beautiful. He's been telling those outrageous lies for so long.
He may have
believes
done
them.
more. He may have done more for pool than anybody in the game today.
I don't know about that. I don't see any tournaments bearing his name, or have I seen any high-paying PR jobs he's helped the guys get.
Well, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying he's created a lot of interest in the game.
But anyway, things are really going Nick's way. I know Kim's got to be awfully frustrated. That's not a nice feeling what he's going through right now.
No, it isn't.
I think he probably wanted to win this tournament more than any other one throughout the whole year, with the possible exception of Vegas.
Yeah. See, Nicky's just slowing it down. Nick's going to be awful hard to beat from here. He's got such a commanding lead. You know, he sees the tape in sight.
He sees what?
He sees the marker, the tape. You know, like if you're running a race, you see the tape.
Oh, sure.
The finish line's in sight.
Well, the guy's a little killer. Despite his diminutive stature, he senses victory. Boy, he goes in for the kill.
Yeah. He won't let you breathe. That's,
I mean, he's vicious when it comes to winning. If he could have Kim 12-0 here, and he'd like to corner hook him.
he definitely would do that. He definitely would do that. I played an exhibition match once. I told him, I said, "Now take it easy on me." He said, "Okay." He beat me 21-3. Yeah. And I knew if he could have beat me 21-0, he probably would have. And it didn't mean anything.
Well, an exhibition match doesn't really mean anything. Just the idea is to have fun and folks come out and have a good time.
Well, he's playing good.
He certainly is, and it looks like he can. It looks like it's going to be a tight fit here, but he's going to barely miss that 8 if he cuts the 6 on the side. If he does so, he'll probably just drop just right down there in between the 8 and 7. Is that the way you see it? There's another shot. He could probably go 2 rails underneath the 8 and kick the 8 up. That's a possible shot.
I'd say he's going to try to drop below the 8.
Drop below the 8 and then kick the 8 up.
Maybe not kick it up, but make sure he gets under it.
He doesn't really need to do anything with the 8 if he gets under it, as Buddy suggested.
The main thing he's got to do is don't get on the opposite side of the 8. Put the 8 between him and the 7, so he's going to try to go under it, I believe.
It looks like he's banking this ball. Now, there you go. That was definitely the right shot. No problem getting hooked by the 8. The bank was like, I would say, about a 90% chance of making it.
That's true. It must have been the right shot. He ended up perfectly on it.
That's exactly right. After it's all over, you can look back on it and say, well, next time that comes up, there's no decision there.
Yeah, if you do the same thing he done, you'll know you hit it absolutely perfect.
That's right. And at the end of game number 16, Nick Varner has strung off 10 consecutive wins in this match, now leading in the match 11 games to 5. You know, I played Nick Varner in Las Vegas, and I was playing very well, and we were just practicing, you know, playing for $25. We would be racing to 7. He would give me a game on the wire, racing to 7 for $25. Well, he beat me 13 games in a row.
Yeah, the price doesn't mean anything. He plays hard. Well, he's just he's a little killer.
He beat me 13 games in a row, you know, and I don't remember the last time anyone beat me 13 games in a row, if in fact anyone ever has.
I was the last guy, wasn't I?
Grady, if you would ever beat me 13 in a row, I would slash my wrist. No question about that.
Why provide me with incentive?
Okay, now Kim Davenport finally has an opportunity at the table with
And
something to work with.
He's got an opportunity with nothing messed up, and I think we're going to see him settle down and try to make a run for it.
The two passes.
Yeah.
The two passes.
2 go.
Especially in that alligator jaw pocket.
Yeah, he's got to get something going. It's now or never. It's now or never. He's taking his last breaths. I mean, he's got to get it going now in order to have a chance. He's a top player. He can have a chance from here too. He's a good enough player when he does get the ball rolling.
I have seen Kim display more courage here this week in the winning of
he's a
3 very
bulldog.
close matches. He made the best shots I've ever seen.
I don't see much problem with the way these balls are laying, providing that he keeps his eye on the ball. Well, he's hooked himself behind the 8. He's thoroughly frustrated. He certainly isn't playing the game
That's
that he
the light
showed us he
ball.
could play during the course of this tournament.
That's the light cue ball, boys.
No, it's not the light cue ball at all. It's not. He's played with the light cue ball all week long. It's not the light cue ball. It's just that he's been taken completely out of the tempo of the game he's accustomed to playing. Exactly what Buddy Hall referred to earlier in the match.
Billy's very complimentary when we get through with the match. He says, "One more time, you called it right." Sometimes I think he's patting me on the back because sometimes I call it the opposite way.
Well, everybody has contrasting styles. Each player trying to implement his or her own strengths. Like some fellas might bank better than they do cut severe angle shots. In this instance, I think you call the match very nicely in suggesting that early in the match Nick would have to change the tempo in order to get back in it, and he did in fact accomplish just that.
See, it's not really the light cue ball, Grady, and I don't mean to contradict what anything you have to say. I think you're extremely a bright person. You're very knowledgeable about the game, but this is the same cue ball that they were playing with the first 6 games of this match.
I realize that, Billy, but when you're way behind, you have a tendency to overlook certain things. When you're ahead, or even in the match, you say, "Hey, this cue ball's a little light."
I grant you
sure I
that.
don't get snookered.
I grant you that. You overlook it because you're out of the tempo of your game. You're not playing the game you want to play. And at the end of game number 17, providing that Nick Varner pockets the 9 ball, he will then take a very commanding 12-5 lead with 11 consecutive wins.
11 games in a row.
The price on that alone is astronomical.
It's hard to beat this man 11 games.
I mean, if someone would have told you before this match that Nick Varner was going to defeat Kim Davenport in this match, and in doing so winning 12 or 11 or 12 games in a row, what would you have said?
I would have said they were nuts.
And what kind of odds would you have laid on that?
Well, I'd have to figure it out. It's way, way up there.
It certainly is way, way up there.
You remember the old say, what is it? You double a penny how many times and it's $1 million? Winning 11 in a row is remarkable.
Well, he's won 11 in a row up to this point in the match. Now, he still has an opportunity to win this game and win 12 in a row, and with you know, an unended 12 in a row. And next time they play, he'll have beaten them 12 in a row.
Do you want to hazard a guess as to the likelihood of Kim winning this match from this point? Oh, it's not off the board.
Well, he's got to win 8 in a row. He has to win 8 games in a row in order to win it.
Well, it's only 255 to 1, less the break vigorous.
255 to 1?
Sure.
Billy and I done a match in Lexington, Kentucky. We saw one man win 8 in a row, and then the other man wins 7 in a row, or something like that, Billy.
Boy, he hates that when he double checks my math. And it turns out he can't say anything.
Remember the match with Mathews and Larry Hubbard? One of them won 7 or 8 games in a row, and then the other one turned right around and won 8 or 9 games in a row.
That was the match between Hopkins and Strickland, or Hatch. It was Hatch. The Hatch won
But
7 in a row, and then Hubbard came back and won 9 in a row to win the match.
You'll recall.
Yeah, that was 2 off the boards in one set.
When I tell you about this, you'll all remember this when I tell you. You remember Ray Martin defeating Mizrak from 10 to 2 behind in Dayton?
I remember Ray Martin winning. I didn't remember what the score was.
Well, he was behind 10 to 2, reeled off 9 consecutive wins.
Well, he's gotten a little bit out of line on this ball. I don't know if it's going to cost him. Well, I guess this is going to end this drought here of 11 consecutive wins. Finally,
Stats have been on this match.
Well, he's only made a couple of mistakes. He scratched once, missed a kick on the 1.
He's had to shoot in the high 900s.
Well, sure, he hasn't hardly made a mistake. He missed 1 bank, as Mary Kennison pointed out.
he's missed a few balls I can remember. He missed the 8 ball. He missed the 8 ball up the corner pocket.
When Joe Kerr racks the balls, he snookers 30 people.
He missed the two ball.
Oh, wait a minute.
He
I'm
missed
not
the
finished
two
with
ball
that.
early in the match.
When Mary racks them, you can see the whole table.
Well, there's no problem. You go to any tournament and you'll find that answer because he does a lot of racking.
That's true. I've become rather
A good
adept
rack
at it.
man.
Yeah. Well, I told you that story earlier. Buddy beat me out of $10,000 gambling once. They called me Buddy Hall's rack boy in my own joint for 2 years. But I didn't mind.
No, you handled it graciously. Well, he wants to get down the table for the two in the other corner. Well, obviously not, Buddy, or I wouldn't be putting the cue ball there.
He might.
No, he's just going to follow through it.
I don't think he'll do that, though.
He's just going to baby this ball a little bit.
There's no telling what Ronnie's favorite shot is. The man is a genuine lunatic.
No. No, I think the 5-ball's created a problem for him. Yeah, but the 5-ball's created a problem for him. I think the 5-ball may be an obstacle here, buddy.
The 5 is an obstacle here. I'll tell you something. The way these balls come off, the 6 may be an obstacle too.
Well, this is not an obstacle, I'll tell you what.
Man's playing great.
You know, if he miscalculates that shot a little bit, you know, he can scratch in that corner pocket off the 6.
Well, you got to give
he certainly can.
Got to give him full credit. He's played some of the best 9-ball I've ever seen in 1989.
Well, he's played great all year.
Sure has. He's
deservingly so the #1 player in the world right now. I mean, he's proved it time and time again. The man don't end up in the finals in almost every tournament without being the best player.
Well, how about the unfortunate people who've been betting against Nick this year? My God. But assume that somebody's been that foolish. They must have really suffered.
Well, I don't have an answer for that. I have no comeback for that. How about his opponents?
Yeah, somebody suggested something to me that some of the best players in the world haven't beaten Nick in 3 years.
Okay, let me ask you gentlemen, where do you play the 7 now? Because you know you have to get down on this side of the table for the 8. So, you know, I believe he got rather poorly on that 6.
He's going to follow that out of their 2 cushions, I believe.
I believe I think he looked at it like he's going to draw it straight out. He looked like he's going to draw it straight out and play the 7 up there where he's at.
Oh, he had a little angle the other way.
Yeah.
He drew
perfect angle.
Yeah, he drew it with perfect speed, and now all he's going to do now is draw the ball without hitting any rails in between the side pocket and the 8-ball, and he's out.
Yeah, and it looks like the party's over. Yeah, I can't see any problems here. He's definitely going to cinch it here.
Well, I don't think he's gotten as straight as he wanted to. Now he's going to have to follow it through the 9.
Yeah, he needs to be careful here. I mean, he could go right in his hole over here.
Oh, he played that perfectly also. For all intentional purposes, this match is over, and it appears that Nick Varner is going to take the title of the U.S. Open and defeat Kim Davenport 13 games to 6. Well, I'll tell you what, the fans here are standing up and applauding, and they're surely showing their appreciation for the performance that Nick Varner displayed here.
Just wait for just 3 minutes. It'll be wonderful. We will make a presentation.
I mean, he certainly did play some flawless 9-ball. He may have missed a few balls, but considering the conditions out there, being behind 5 games to 1, coming back against a player like Kim Davenport, you got to give him all the credit in the world. He did everything that was asked of him, and Kim Davenport can tell you how he felt in that chair. He felt like he was playing someone that just never made a mistake.
Well, he was playing someone that didn't make any mistakes. The mistakes that he made, well, he played a little lucky. 3 times he broke and hooked Kim on the break, but those things got to going for him. He slowed the tempo down, got Kim out of his rhythm. He done a lot of things right in that match in order to take command of it.
Well, he certainly did. Nick Varner, as you mentioned before, really does truly deserve in the true sense of the word, to be the #1 player in the world and be player of the year.
Yes, he
that's
does,
for sure.
and I'm going to pay him one of the highest compliments I can think of. He played a very Buddy Hall type match.
Well, I'm sure Buddy Hall appreciates that coming from you, Grady, and that certainly is really a very, very strong compliment.
Well, you know, the finals in Memphis and this finals may have been the 2 best performances I've seen turned in recent years.
Well, I appreciate the compliment, but I don't feel like that I've played near the pool that Nicky's played this year.
Oh, I wasn't saying that, but you did in Memphis.
No, that was very nice of Kim Davenport. You know, he's taken this loss graciously, and like we expected that he would. He came into the match with a lot of aggressiveness, and he wanted to win this title so badly. I imagine he is very disappointed, but he certainly has to pay Nick Varner the respect that's due to him, and he certainly did that.
Well, there's just not enough words to describe what Nick has done this year. He's proven time and time again that he's the best player in the world, and he is the best player this year. Now, next year, sometimes it changes from year to year, but if he plays like he's playing right now, next year he's going to be in contention for it again.
Let me ask you an important question. Let me ask you an important question, buddy, for the rest of us. After watching this and some of Nick's other great performances of the year, have you learned anything about maybe how to prepare and how to play against Nick? Would you change anything the next time you go into combat against him?
Well, if I were going to play Nick, I wouldn't want to try to change anything about my game. I think that would hurt me more than it would help me. Just like if you were going to go in against Nick, you wouldn't want to change your game. You just want to play the best that you could play.
Well, I would change a couple of things. I really would. I would try to make 0 unforced errors and play zone position where I can see everything. And the second thing I would do is try to make sure I look him up on the safeties if I could.
Do this. Why don't we cut the tape and wait till we get Nick up here for the interview? Okay? Okay. Well, okay, Nick. On behalf of Grady Mathews, Buddy Hall, and myself, Bill Incardona, well, this is to you.
Thank you, Billy.
Anyways, you played one more time remarkably well. Just about flawless 9-ball. You won 11 consecutive games after trailing 5 games to 1. The next time Kim Davenport won a game, the score was 12 games to 5. I mean, Buddy Hall made a statement early in the match that the tempo of the match was in Davenport's favor, but Nick, the type of person that he is, if he's able to turn the tempo around in his favor, he can come back in this match. And that's exactly what you did, and you played superb out there, Nick. And can you tell me a little bit about how you felt the beginning of the match went, and if you thought you could come back in the match? I know you thought you could come back in the match, but you played great. I just want to hear you talk. Just talk about something.
Okay, Billy. Well, I got off to such a shaky start. I think he won the first game, and then the second game I missed a 2 in the corner, and it wasn't that tough a shot. And then I made 2 more mistakes right after that where I had a chance to win games, and the result of that was I was down 5 to 1, and it looked like Kim was like flying around the table, and it looked like it might be a short evening for me. And then all of a sudden it really turned around, and I made a couple of real nice, difficult outs, and it seemed to really turn the momentum in my favor. And then about 2 or 3 times there in a row, we really got into some real defensive play and kicking, and I was able to, keep that momentum on my side almost the entire rest of the match. He won 1 game after that, and we got into a lot of kicking and safety play, and then a couple of them outs that were real tough. I won out with the 6. It was really tight where you had to practically bank it in off the rail by the 7, and I was just fortunate to hang on to the momentum, but a lot of the racks weren't so easy to run. And then I think the final straw was when he played the 3 in the corner, or the 4, and got behind this 8 ball here.
Yeah.
I think I was at 11-5 because I think he could have still got back in the match but then that put me on the hill, and it's tough, 7, 8 games in a row.
And then when he elected to bank the 5 cross-side and scratched right in the corner, it just wasn't meant to be for Kim Davenport. But what made me really realize that you were at the top of your game is when you cut the 3 ball in the right-hand corner pocket and elected to go around the 6 ball that was lying in front of the hole and coming down on the bottom rail for the 4. Remember that shot?
Oh, the last game. Yeah, that was laying natural, though. As long as I don't run into that ball, I just had to draw and pocket the ball, but it wasn't easy pocketing the ball.
I thought it was a tremendous shot myself.
Oh, it was a tremendous shot, which only
Well, I really was coming down on that 1 ball. I was thinking in my mind, don't go too far, because as long as I don't get where it's the ball that's right in front of it, as long as I'm not facing dead at it, I've got a chance to play a real good safe. But then I just fell, and I saw, well, man, if I make the 3, this match is over. When I played the 2 into the 5, I was thinking safe when I came down there, and I just got such a good angle, and I seen the 3. It's over with after I make the 3, because I'm coming perfect.
It's over with. It's over with when you got to the table shooting the 1. I guess that's the way you really wanted to feel, or did feel, but you just didn't want to admit it, because every time you get a shot, I know you had to feel inside of you that you're going to run out.
Yeah, I really did. After I got that 1 rack that was tough, where the 6 had to go by the 7, and the 5 I had to go down forward on that. You want to just bounce off and come up high. That's the way you never make a mistake. But to get a real good angle, I needed to come around 2 rails and go up table into the rail to try to get close to straight in on the 6.
Okay, are you going to play in Valley Forge?
Yes.
You're going to play in Valley. I know okay, Pat Fleming has just informed me we have about a minute left on the tape. Grady Mathews, you have anything to add to this? You want to add? You want to talk to this man or what, Grady?
Well, the only thing I got to say, I'm really proud of Nick. He's holding up the geriatric set. Anyway, I think he's felt all year long when he was down in that match. I think he thought he was a favorite still. That's the kind of pool he's been playing.
Okay, buddy, we got 30 seconds.
Well, all I want to say is he's done it one more time. He's still the #1 player this year, and it looks like if he keeps it up next year, he's going to be just as hard to deal with. My congratulations. I'm proud of him myself.